Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Amasid and today I wanted to show you guys my KB Power Siphon Int stacking Trickster. Now this is the most fun build I played this league for sure. It's tanky, it's fast, it does a lot of damage, and it's smooth. It's buttery smooth, just ooh, it's smooth. Now obviously you can see in this clip I am using a headhunter, but you don't need a headhunter to make this build work. I just really like it, particularly because I was doing a lot of legion farming with this build, and I felt like a headhunter would really be very additive to that experience, so I got one. But it's quite nice. Overall, it didn't cost me too much to get it going. The initial build that I sort of went into it was about 50 divines, and then I got headhunter, and obviously the build started to scale up and more. But you can really get it going for not all that much relative, especially for this stage of the league, and it's really fun. I love KB because the way I describe KB is it's kind of like a bow build, but you get to use a shield, so you're not just like, you know, getting killed by a swift breeze. You really get the benefit of a lot of defense as well as a really powerful offense, and it's really just smooth plays. It's just the KB explosions are really nice. I really love it. The Power Siphon is just like a beeline, just nukes down bosses. Yeah, it's a really fun build. So I think let's quickly jump into the gear and the PoB, and you guys can sort of get a feel for how the build is put together. All right, everyone, we are back. Now let's do a quick walkthrough of my gear, my tree, just a little bit there. I'll show you guys my PoB. That'll be in the description, of course, for your guys' review if you want to check out the character. But let's just give it a go here first. So obviously the thing here that you'll notice, and I called it out in the last clip, is I'm using a headhunter. It's just amazing for Legion. Like you saw, I'm just blowing up rares, getting huge, dealing tons of damage. It's just really fun. But you don't actually need that, right, to play the build, not at all. You can just use like an 18% increased intelligence belt, and then you craft it. This is obviously an uncrafted belt here. You'd probably want to slam with some essences, get some, maybe some attributes, additional dexterity, strength, something like that. That is a nice part about headhunter, is that you do get the strength and the dex, which is nice for this build because we're not really getting it from other sources. And then you get some, you know, flat ES and some resistances, and you're off to the races. But not necessarily a headhunter at all. Wand, I crafted this. This is the wrong base. The imbued wand is what you really want, but the base is like, it was I think 20 times more expensive or something. So I was like, I can take the, you know, 0.2 less attacks per second and just deal with it. I crafted this myself, basically essence spam to get lightning damage, and then I forget exactly what I did here, but then I ashlinged it into the pen and crafted, and I actually just randomly vision slammed the LA damage with attack skills, which is actually pretty good for this build, so not bad. We might have wanted something like T1 spell damage. That's probably the best option, but yeah, all things considered, not too bad. Ring here, it's a % intelligence ring. Again, this is, you know, kind of a weird looking ring, but I think it's actually pretty solid. You get the flat lightning damage to attacks, which is huge for us. Obviously the flat int we want. Strength is, again, like I said, a little bit tricky. I actually don't need it with my current headhunter equipped. I can get rid of the strength and ideally swap that for like a resistance or something, but not too bad. Accuracy, not really necessary because I've got, where is it? I've got precision somewhere. Where are you, precision? You're here somewhere. There you are. Divergent precision, which is giving me 700 accuracy, and I should be good, I think, without this. I don't have the exact math offhand, but not bad. And then you get the max ES and the WED. Helmet is pretty standard. If you look at this build on PoE Ninja, relatively straightforward. You get the power charges. Obviously, we are a power charge build, and then Power Siphon fires 2 additional projectiles. Just makes Power Siphon even stronger. We'll do amulet next. So I've got a % intelligence amulet. I basically I'd say this piece can use the most work of all of my gear. I mean, you see like the prefixes, besides arguably rarity and I guess the crafted ES, it's pretty useless, right? Like the max life is useless. You probably would want different prefixes. I should probably work on crafting a new one, but for now I thought it was good because we do have, because this is an 83, that T2 attributes is the best we can do, and then we have essence intelligence, which is quite nice. Ring, relatively straightforward. It has a conductivity on hit with double res, just because we do struggle for res a little bit without the ability to get res on our belt with the headhunter equipped. So I've got cold damage to attacks and lightning damage to attacks. Not a very defensive ring from the ES perspective, but all things considered, not too bad. Shield and Series Reflection is just quite nice. You get a ton of evasion and a ton of flat energy shield, plus unaffected by curses and increased effect of your curses is nice. Then looking at Sadist Garb here, so that's going to be the best base for a rare. You probably could do something like, you know, switch Wrath to like Discipline if you want to go a little more defensive, but I went the Wrath Aura effect here. We do have a 21 Wrath. You know, this I feel like this chest armor body armor doesn't look that good, but it's better than I think it appears. It's a ton of flat energy shield and a ton of flat evasion, and because of this node here, Escape Artist, which is +5 evasion range per max energy shield and helmet, and +1 max ES per 6 evasion on body armor. So basically, if we stack a ton of evasion on body armor, we get more flat ES. So this is quite nice for that. Obviously, the int roll is not great. It's only a T2. I feel like the suffixes in general are pretty bad, but the prefixes are quite nice. And we hit T2 hybrid on evasion and energy shield percent, and then we also hit T2 hybrid flat and hybrid percentage. Pretty good. Evasion energy shield, so quite nice there. I think this is a very solid chest. Getting a better one than this is going to be really difficult, because obviously I'd like to have higher intelligence and maybe like even something along the lines of you know, better res, or even if you got rid of the implicit and you went with an influence base and got percentage intelligence, that'd be pretty cool, but it's really difficult to craft. So I'm pretty happy with this. Gloves I crafted as well. I just bought the 50 intelligence fractured base, 51 intelligence fractured base. Essence slammed until I got some good prefixes there. And yeah, crafted on damage while leeching, because we are leeching constantly with Soul Drinker here. 2% damage leeches energy shield. You get the leech effect, so that's pretty good. Boots are relatively straightforward, essentially just flat intel boots. I bought fractured 30% movement speed base, and then basically hit this until I got a good roll, and I hit T1 flat ES, and then crafted on percent along with the nice T1 cold res. Actually, Exalt slammed that on as well. Got lucky. So nice flask, relatively not too much to talk about here. Dying Sun, obviously a lot of projectiles we're shooting. Bottle Faith, quite nice for a crit. Jade Flask is nice because we are evasion. We're using Grace here. And Diamond Flask for that little bit extra crit, although it's not super great because we're at like 92% crit roughly, so it's not doing all that much, but it is helping a little bit. And then looks up for movement speed. Now, looking at the other pieces here, I'm using a split personality. It's nice because it does give you some flat dex, which I said is a little tricky to get, plus flat intelligence, which is nice. This is like a 20C jewel. It's really not that expensive. Large clusters, I've got a Feed the Fury, Martial Prowess, Opportunistic, Fusillade. There's a lot of options you can do for this. This is just one I went with. There might even be a better option I'm not aware of. But yeah, so we've got this one here. I need, again, resistances is just a problem constantly because I don't have a belt to pick up a lot of that slack, essentially. So I've got this. It's kind of a weird jewel. It's got some nice attack speed, which is really key for this build, plus some resistances. I also then took, I crafted this cluster jewel, which essentially gives you the meat here, right, is the mana reservation efficiency. So you're getting 6% mana reservation efficiency for these two smalls, and then a 50% on the Wrath. That allows us to really fit in a high max level precision and still have a lot of mana to spare. I mean, theoretically, I could fit in another aura maybe somewhere, maybe like a Defiance banner or something. That might work, because mana is really not a problem here because you're getting so much mana on hit. Other jewels here. So I'm using Deadly Infusion, which gives you what it says there, 5% crit multi per power charge and plus 1.5% crit chance while at max power charges. So that's quite nice as well. Again, the flat crit, and we are crit build, so that's pretty good. This is just a CB jewel with more resistances, nothing to talk about there. Same sort of deal, a lot of resistances on my jewels, max ES and some attack speed, quite nice. I think I paid like 5C for that jewel, thought it was a pretty good deal. And that's it for the jewels. Now to quickly flash my PoB, you can see here Power Siphon damage is just about 7.6 mil with, you know, pretty standard config set up here. One thing I'll note is that, right, you are using KB to clear and Power Siphon for single target. So just to, this is not how you would do this, but just so you can see the DPS. So you can see KB is at 600k, and if you change this to KB, you can change that as well to explosions. So you see the KB explosions about 400k. So that's plenty enough to clear most maps, and, you know, especially when you're stacking Headhunter buffs, it's pretty easy. But Power Siphon, you'll just have no problem just nuking down bosses. Of course, it's not, this damage can scale even higher. Like this is not even close to like where this could cap out. If I would swap Headhunter with the Intelligence Belt, made some other changes, I could, you know, scale the damage way out. But this is sort of where I'm at right now, and this is enough for what I want to do. Like I don't feel too bad about this, considering I didn't spend all that much really on the other gear relative. I think it was like, before, you know, just to get the build up and running, I was in like the 50 divine range. I spent, you know, a decent amount on these gloves, a decent amount crafting this wand. The Headhunter is obviously neither here nor there, because it's a separate sort of piece to talk about. Not too bad, right? Not too bad. To get to the point where you really are playing the super smooth build. It's also really tanky, as I said in the last clip. You have a really, like, I'm over halfway to 98, dying very infrequently. Yeah, it's honestly one of the most fun builds I played this league, maybe even ever. It's really fun. I highly recommend. What do you guys think about it? Of course, I know there are different variations, like the Scion variation is quite powerful, but I wanted to play Trickster, so I did. And so this is the variation that I'm running. I hope you guys like it, and I will catch you in the next one.